Today's lesson is celebrating the world's brightest stars at the Oscars. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Helen.
And today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Oscars ceremony. And, of course, the brightest stars appear there. They make an appearance on the red carpet. And, of course, you can watch the awards ceremony, but you can also watch the arrival of all the celebrities at the beginning. Of course, lots of them are interviewed by various people. And, again, the real show then starts after everyone arrives in their fancy clothes and stuff like that. And, of course, last time we began talking about the Oscars in terms of some trivia, some information. Let's see, what did we talk about, Helen? We said that's the longest-running entertainment awards ceremony in the world, and no one really knows why it's called the Oscars either.
Yes, it's the longest-running entertainment awards ceremony in the world and has never been canceled. So even though a lot of things happened in the world over the past 80 years, the Oscars went on each year and it was unstoppable.
Okay, so we've got some more trivia in today's lesson regarding the Oscars or regarding the Academy Awards ceremony. So let's get to it. Let's find out some more information about the Oscars. Let's listen to the first part, which is about Walt Disney.
Walt Disney holds the record for the most Oscars. Disney won his first 2 Oscars, one competitive, one honorary, in 1932. After that, he racked up another 24, with the final one being awarded in 1969, 3 years after his death. An Oscar is worth $1,000. Each Oscar statuette is made from solid bronze plated in 24-karat gold. When melted down, these heavy awards, each of which weighs nearly 4 kilograms, would produce about $1,000 worth of metal. Meanwhile, no Oscar has its winner's name engraved on it until after the ceremony to preserve secrecy.
大家好，第一部分我们可以看到单字 honorary， 它是形容词，指的是荣誉的或是名誉的。例如 Wilson was given an honorary doctoral degree by his alma mater. Wilson 获得母校颁发荣誉博士学位。或者The famous poet has received many honorary degrees despite having never graduated from university. 即使这位知名诗人从未自大学毕业，还是得到许多荣誉学位。另外补充这个字的名词 honor, H-O-N-O-R, honor, 它的意思是荣誉。像是 It was an honor to meet the CEO at the company dinner. 能在公司晚宴上见到总裁是件很光荣的事情。又或者是 Honor is very important to Wallace, so you can believe what he says. 荣誉对 Wallace 来说非常重要，所以你可以相信他说的话。另外 honor 这个字也可以当作动词，它指的是尊敬或是致敬。我们可以说 All of the firefighters were honored in a ceremony. 所有消防队员在颁奖典礼上受到赞扬。也可以说Politicians came together to honor soldiers who died in the war. 政治人物齐聚一堂，表彰在战争中阵亡的士兵。接下来我们看到片语 rack up， 它的意思是累积或是累计。举例来说 After ordering so many side dishes, we racked up a large bill at the restaurant. 我们在餐厅点了很多小菜，累积下来的账单金额很可观。又或者说In this video game, the more spaceships you shoot, the more points you rack up. 在这个电玩游戏中，击中越多太空船，积分就越多。再来，我们看到动词 engrave， 指的是雕刻或是在点点点上刻字或是图案等。例如 Judy had the date of her wedding engraved onto her ring. Judy 把她的结婚日期刻在戒指上。又或者是My wife had my name engraved onto the back of the watch. 我妻子在手表背面刻了我的名字。
So when we think about movies, it's difficult not to think about Walt Disney's association with Hollywood. In fact, Walt Disney holds the record for the most Oscars. Now, Disney won his first 2 Oscars, one competitive, one honorary in 1932. So in that year, he won an Oscar 2 times for 2 categories. One was competitive, which means that he was competing with other people for that particular prize. Competitive means to compete. It refers to a competitive activity where people are competing. And the other Oscar was honorary. An honorary award is given to somebody to honor them. So they get the award not in the usual way. Sometimes when a person has done a lot of great things in their lives, an organization or the government might give them an honorary award to recognize all of the achievements they've made.
Yep, indeed. Every year it seems like an honorary Oscar is given out to somebody for the achievements they've had in the film industry. And after that, he racked up another 24, with the final one being awarded in 1969. 3 years after his death. So his total is a record. He's won 26 Oscars, and the last one he received was in 1969. And that was 3 years after he died. So using mathematics, I could say that he died in 1966.
Yes, and he racked up 24 more awards. To rack up means to get a large number of something, a large amount of something. So it's really used for numbers. You can also say that the team racked up the most wins this season, which means that the team has earned or has gained the most points or most wins in that particular season.
Indeed. Now, let's switch to the actual statuette itself, the Oscar itself. It's actually worth $1,000. Okay, I wonder, how do they calculate that worth here? Well, let's talk about the Oscar here. First of all, do you think it's made from solid gold? I don't think so. It would be worth millions of dollars if it were made of solid gold. So here it says, each Oscar statuette is made from solid bronze plated in 24-karat gold. Now, bronze is a kind of metal. I think it's a mixture of copper and of tin, and it's given out at the Olympics, of course. If you get first place, you get the gold medal. If you get second place, you get the silver medal. And if you get third place, you get the bronze medal. And this statuette is made of solid bronze, which you might be surprised actually is worth something. It's plated in 24-karat gold. So if something's plated in something, that means it's on the surface of that thing. Remember, gold can be sliced very thinly. They evidently put enough on there for the statue to be worth $1,000.
That's right. When melted down, these heavy awards, each of which weighs nearly 4 kilograms, would produce about $1,000 worth of metal. So it's worth $1,000 in its material form, not the statuette itself because it's an Oscar, but just the material that was used to make the statuette would be worth $1,000. Now, meanwhile, no Oscar has its winner's name engraved on it until after the ceremony to preserve secrecy.
Exactly. So, of course, before they hand out the awards, they've already determined who the winners are, but they don't engrave the names on the statuettes just yet, because if they do, maybe somebody will get a peek at them and they'll leak this information to the press and everybody will know who wins before the ceremony. So they don't engrave the names on the statues, or the statuettes, I should say, until after the ceremony, and that's to preserve secrecy. So here we've got the verb to engrave, which means to write something on a hard surface so that you can see it. It's usually letters or words or whatever. So, of course, if you win something, you might have your name engraved on the award. It will be kind of scratched in there using a special machine.
Right. And again, the word to preserve means to keep something from being lost or from changing. You can also talk about preserving ancient traditions or preserving a language that is slowly being lost. And secrecy refers to a situation where a secret is being kept. For instance, my friend told me something in secrecy, which means that she didn't want me to tell anybody else what she told me, and I will, of course, keep what she told me in secrecy, or I will keep it a secret.
Yep, you're going to swear to keep it a secret, so we also have this phrase, sworn to secrecy. Sorry, I can't tell you I'm sworn to secrecy. I cannot reveal this secret. I cannot spill the beans. I cannot let the cat out of the bag. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's move on now to talk about the statuette's value, or at least how much you can sell it for.
You can't sell your Oscar for more than $1. Melting an Oscar might earn you a little money, but it must be worth more whole, right? Nope. A legal clause from the 1950s states that no Oscar winner may sell their award for more than $1. Awards produced prior to that time, however, have sold for more than $1 million at auction.
最后第二部分我们看到单字 auction， 它是名词，意思是拍卖会。举例来说 There will be an auction to sell off items that people don't want anymore. 这里将举行拍卖会，出售人们不再想要的物品。又或者是 This painting was sold at auction for a lot more than what the owner had originally paid for it. 这幅画在拍卖会上的售价远远高于其所有者原本购入的价钱。另外，这个字也可以当作动词，它的意思是拍卖。我们可以说The charity auctioned off art to raise money for a children's hospital. 那个慈善机构拍卖艺术品，为一家儿童医院募款。也可以说 Meg is going to auction off her autograph collection to raise some money. Meg 要把她的签名收藏品拍卖掉，来募集一些钱。
So in the previous section, we found out that an Oscar is worth $1,000, and that might prompt some people, perhaps not the actual actors and actresses who won the Oscars because they probably don't need the money, but it might prompt some people to think about selling the Oscars because it's worth a bit of money. However, that's not possible because you can't sell your Oscar for more than $1. Now, melting an Oscar might earn you a little money, but it must be worth more whole, right? Nope. A legal clause from the 1950s states that no Oscar winner may sell their award for more than $1. So there was a legal clause from the 1950s. A clause is a part of a legal document or a law that officially tells you to do something or to not to do something. And here we have a legal clause. There was probably a legal document that was drawn up in the 1950s concerning the Oscar statue. And in this document, it stated specifically that the statue could not be sold whole. Or if you're going to sell it, you're practically giving it away if you're only going to receive $1 from it.
Right, so you can sell it, but you can only get $1 for it. And awards produced prior to that time, however, have sold for more than $1 million at auction. So they didn't have this law or this clause before the 1950s. So awards produced prior to that time or before that time have sold for millions of dollars, and they were sold at auction, which means they were sold in an auction where people offer prices for a given item and then somebody else offers more money, and then until somebody stops offering more money, then the item is sold to the highest bidder.
Right. A popular modern auction space is eBay. I don't know if it's very popular here in Taiwan, but in the United States, it's quite popular. So people can put up their personal goods for sale and they will sell it to the highest bidder. So a bidder is somebody who proposes a particular price for a product that they want to buy.
Indeed. So that's another piece of trivia. Let's wrap things up now by going to the third part of our lesson for today, and then we'll discuss it.
While anyone can watch the televised Oscar ceremony, only Hollywood's best get to be there for the experience of a lifetime. For one night, hundreds of stars will gather, giving us all a glimpse at what it would be like to be the brightest one in the room.
So concluding our discussion on the Oscars, it says, while anyone can watch the televised Oscar ceremony, only Hollywood's best get to be there for the experience of a lifetime. Indeed, that's true. We regular people who aren't part of the Hollywood industry can only stay at home and watch the televised ceremony. So televised means to broadcast on television. We can only watch the ceremony on television. However, Hollywood's best get to be there live. And here the word best isn't being used as an adjective, but rather as a noun to refer to the most talented, the best people of Hollywood, referring to the actors, directors, producers, and so on. They get to be there for the experience of a lifetime. So it's a very special experience. It doesn't happen often. They will likely remember it for the rest of their lives. Therefore, it's the experience of a lifetime.
Yes, indeed. Hollywood's best. All the actors and actresses and directors and costume designers and all those people, they get to attend the Oscars, and it will be an experience of a lifetime for them. They'll be able to have bragging rights about having attended the Oscars. They can have conversations about it later on in their life with their grandchildren. And for one night, hundreds of stars will gather, giving us all a glimpse at what it would be like to be the brightest one in the room. So indeed, for one night at a certain time of the year, we've got lots of people gathering together in that location in Hollywood, California. And we all get a glimpse at what it would be like to be a superstar like them, to be the brightest one in the room. And hopefully the camera will point at you and you will be a celebrity for the rest of your life. And that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Let's turn things over to Hanny now.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分有一个句子写到 When melted down, these heavy awards, each of which weighs nearly 4 kilograms, would produce about $1,000 worth of metal. 那我们先看到 When melted down, these heavy awards句子里面的 when 后面直接接过去分词。好，那当我们在 when 后面直接接分词，这是属于分词构句的用法。我们来看看它的简化过程哦。当 when 引导的副词子句跟主要子句它们的主词相同时，我们可以把 when 后方的主词省略，然后把动词改分词形式，就会形成分词构句，也就是 when 加上 VING 或者是 when 加上 PP。 当动词原本是主动，我们就用现在分词，被动就只要保留过去分词就好了。举例来说 My sister often tosses and turns when sleeping。我姐姐睡觉时常会翻来翻去。句子里面的 when sleeping 就是由 when she sleeps 简化而来。再看个例句 Ostriches don't hide their heads in the sand when threatened. 当鸵鸟受到威胁时，并不会把头藏在沙里。好，句子里面这个 when threatened 就是由 when they are threatened 简化而来的。那我们再回到刚刚课文句子，我们有看到 these heavy awards 后面使用了非限定用法的关系子句，他说 each of which weighs nearly 4 kilograms 来做补充说明。好，我们看到这边的关系代名词 which 是用来代指前方的 these heavy awards。那么 each of which 就是说这些承重讲座的每一座怎么样怎么样。那像这样的用法就是用带有修饰语的关系代名词来引导关系子句对先行词做补充说明。我们来学习相关的用法咯。好 which 当关系代名词，它可以用来代指前方的事物，也就是先行词嘛。那么 which 前面呢，你可以加上量词、数字、百分比、最高级等等，加上 of 去表达所占的比例。像 two of which 那就可以说是先行词其中的两个怎么样怎么样。 some of which 先行词其中一些怎么样怎么样。 the best of which 先行词其中最好的怎么样怎么样，或是 1/3 of which 先行词其中1/3怎么样怎么样。好，那我们来造个例句 Dave has a huge collection of CDs, most of which were bought in the 90s. Dave 收藏了一大堆 CD， 大部分是在90年代买的。好，那特别注意这个用法呢，我们是在针对先行词做补充说明，这是属于非限定用法，那就记得要用逗号把这个补充说明的部分跟主要子句隔开来咯。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Competitive. Courtney decided to quit playing competitive sports after she injured her knee. Bronze. The old bell in the clock tower is made of bronze. Preserve. The elders of the tribe want to preserve the tribe's traditional way of life. Clause. The contract was made up of dozens of clauses that Zeke found difficult to understand. Prior. Jessie couldn't go to the concert with her friends because she didn't get prior approval from her parents. Auction. After Mr. Morales died, his children sold some of the property from his home at an auction.
Discussion starter starts now!
It's time now for our discussion starter. The question is, do you know any other interesting facts about the Oscars?
Yes, another interesting fact about the Oscars is that it has often been used as a platform for political protest. So one year, many decades ago, I remember Marlon Brando had won an Oscar, but he didn't show up at the ceremony to pick up his award. Instead, he sent a Native American woman who spoke for him, and she said that Brando couldn't make it because he wanted to protest the bad treatment, unequal treatment of Native Americans by the American film industry. And everyone was outraged that he used the Oscars as a political platform. However, today that has become very, very common. A lot of actors, actresses go on stage to get their awards, and they use that time and the public's attention to say what they think about something that's happening in the world.
Well, now that you mention Marlon Brando, I believe he received the Best Oscar Award for his work in The Godfather. So the sequel, The Godfather Part 2, was the first sequel to win an Oscar for Best Picture. So that's a bit of trivia as well. And also regarding Marlon Brando refusing his Oscar for Indigenous people, well, that reminds me of the Oscars in 2019, in which the first Indigenous American woman had a nomination for Best Actress. I'm talking about Yalitza Aparicio from Mexico, who was nominated for Best Actress for her performance in the movie Roma, which came out the year before in 2018. I believe it was directed by Alfonso Cuarón.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoy reading along with us. I am Helen.
I am Roger.
See you next time.